ओम वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ओम श्री महागणपतये नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्धतामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्र रुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। So namaste everyone once again.
Namaste Guruji.
Namaskaram.
Karam.
Namaste Guruji.
Namaste.
Namaste Guruji.
Namaste. So we are seeing Bhagavan Krishna explaining Karma Yoga from various angles. And in the last class, we started to understand this sloka towards the end of the class. Yajna Shishtashinas Santaha Muchyante Sarva Kilbishaihi Bhunjate Te Tvagam Papaha Ye Pachantyatma Karanat. Did I give the Anvaya for this? I don't know. Maybe not. Anyhow, it doesn't matter. I will give the Anvaya once again.
Yes, you gave.
Sorry?
You gave the Anvaya.
I gave the Anvaya. Okay. And meaning also I have explained the word meaning. Anyhow, I will repeat it. Doesn't matter. It will take 1 minute. So Anvaya is Yajnashishta Arvinaha Santaha Sarva Kilbishaihi Muchyante. ये तो आत्मकारणात् पचन्ति ते पापाः अघम भुंजते. So yajna shishta ashinah, those who eat having first offered the food to the Lord, basically the prasada, those who partake of the prasada after offering it to the Lord. Santah, those noble ones. Sarva kilbishaihi, from all impurities, muchyante, they are released. Ye tu, whereas those who, atmakarana, for the sake of themselves alone, pachanti, cook, te, those, papaha, actually speaking in the, we can translate it roughly as sinners. Those who are who earn lot of papas, right? Papis rather. Agham, papa or sin, bhunjate, eat or partake. So those noble ones who eat having first offered the food to the Lord are released from impurities. Whereas those sinful people who cook only for themselves and eat, they partake of papa or sin. So now Krishna is looking at Karma Yoga from a third angle. What are the previous two angles? One was the commandment, Lord's commandment, right? Agnya, niyatam kuru karmatvam, and yajnartam karma kuru. Do karma, do karma, do karma was the commandment of Krishna. Perform all the ordained karmas without fail and perform that with a karma yoga attitude. Yajnartam we saw means karma yoga attitude. This is the first angle. The second angle is karma yoga is leading a reverential life, a prayerful life. A life which expresses its gratitude to the devatas for their contribution to our lives. This is the second angle. Now the third angle in this sloka, Krishna looks at karma yoga as a spiritual purifier, chitta shodakam. So karma yoga as chitta shodakam. And this aspect or this angle of karma yoga can be appreciated only when one is a seeker of moksha. Because when I am a seeker of moksha, I am a mumukshu, I know that there is only one means of attaining moksha, and that means is spiritual freedom or atma jnanam. Without the knowledge of the self, without atma jnanam, one can never attain moksha. This mumukshu knows very well. That's the only path, knowledge. Even Purusha Suktam confirms it. Nanyaf pantaha ayanaya vidyate. Na anya pantaha. No other road, no other path. Ayanaya. For the ultimate goal. That is moksha. Vidyate is there. And Adi Shankara reiterates this in Viveka Chudamani also. Those students of Viveka Chudamani we have seen this. Atmaikya bodhena vina muktihi na siddhyati. He said that. Right? Then the scriptures also point out that even though Atma Jnanam alone can liberate you, Atma Jnanam can take place only when the mind is pure. Without mental purity, the knowledge or Atma Jnanam cannot enter and settle down. It is never possible. Purification is a very important samskara so far as our culture is concerned. Right from the birth of the baby, there are so many purificatory rituals that we perform. The 11th day, there is a purification performed because once a baby is born, 11 days are supposed to be impure. So you perform a ritual. Even in temples, before we install the Lord, there are so many rituals purifying the place. Similarly, when I want to study the Veda, which is a sacred literature, when I want to install the Veda Mata in my mind, it cannot be done unless I purify myself. And that is why before starting the Vedic study, we have got a series of rituals. It's called Upanayanam ceremony. What is that? Cleaning the body, cleaning my mind to install the Veda mantras. Actually, we don't even understand why all these samskaras are there. It's very, very profound culture that we have got, cleanliness, both internal cleanliness and external cleanliness are given highest importance in our culture. So without purification, if I install the Veda mantras, instead of Veda purifying me, what will happen? I will end up polluting the Veda. That is why they say Upanayanam is important for Vedic learning and chanting. Now this has led to some controversy these days. Of course, only recently this controversy may be past about 20, 30, 40 years or maybe 50 years there. Previously, this problem was not there at all because everybody had a much better understanding of our culture. Today, the most people, especially women, in most of the classes, they will ask this question to all Swamijis. Why do men alone can learn and chant Veda mantras? Why ladies cannot learn? Is it a sign of a patriarchal society or what they call, male chauvinism or something? They ask umpteen questions. We need to understand certain aspects relating to all these things. The fact is that even if a person is born in a Brahmin family, that is Jati Brahmana, he cannot learn Vedas unless he has gone through the purificatory process, which, as I said, Upanayana Samskara. So just merely born in a Brahmin family is not enough to learn Vedas. So even men born in a Brahmin family, if they have not undergone the Upanayana Samskara, they cannot learn Vedas. So this purificatory process, this samskara, in our culture, anything you do, you have to first purify. Even if you take the example of painting a wall, isn't it? What do they do first? First, they will use the sandpaper to remove the previous paint or dirt, isn't it? And thereafter only they will paint. Similarly, Atma Jnanam can come only if the mind is scrubbed clean of all impurities. Raga, Dvesha, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. All these Raga, Dvesha, the impurities have to be first cleaned. If not 100%, at least to the maximum extent possible. And for purifying the mind, what is the sandpaper you will use? For a wall, you can use a sandpaper. For cleaning the mind, we use another type of sandpaper called Karma Yoga. So we use Karma Yoga sandpaper to clean the mind. And a seeker who is interested in this inner purification is not bothered about material prosperity. That is the first sign that the purification process has begun. Vairagyam. Vairagyam means what? You have now relegated to a secondary or a tertiary status. You are running behind material prosperity. Of course, it's not that if material prosperity comes to you, you are going to say no. You will accept it, but you will not prioritize this as the most important goal. I must buy so many houses, I must get so many cars, I must have so many kilos of gold. This kind of a material prosperity, which is what most of the people always run after, a karma yogi will put it as a secondary or a tertiary priority. Material prosperity may come or it may not come. A karma yogi's focus is on inner purification. And as I said, material prosperity is the secondary result, which may come, which may not come, depending upon one's past karmas. We don't know what is all there in the bundle of prarabdha karmas for this life. So if the material prosperity is there, in spite of you are putting it as a secondary priority or whatever it is, or you are not paying attention, it will automatically come. Therefore, for a karma yogi, for a seeker, the primary aim, focus is purification of the mind. Ramana Maharshi says this beautifully in Upadesha Saram. Ishwararpitam nechaya kritam chitta shodhakam mukti sadhakam. All Acharyas, all great Mahatmas have said this only. Whether it is Adi Shankara, whether it is Ramana Maharshi. In fact, we are all very fortunate that we have access to all these literature, these Upadeshas. 1,000 years of foreign rule, trying to destroy all these things, they have not succeeded. It still survives and it is growing today. So, Chitta Shodhakam, Mukti Sadhakam. If you dedicate your life to the Lord, and if you consider material prosperity as subservient to spiritual growth, then your karma yoga will lead to mental purity. And which mental purity will promote mukti sadhakam, moksha. And therefore, the third angle of karma yoga which Krishna is presenting is karma yoga as an inner purifier. That's why when we saw a brief introduction to karma yoga in the second chapter, we saw this sloka. Neha bhikramana shoste pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. There is no failure in karma yoga. If you are take karma yoga as a purificatory process, you can never fail. Your progress may be slow, but there is no question of failure, because we define failure only from the standpoint of material accomplishment and non-accomplishment, isn't it? Oh, that fellow is a failure in life. That fellow is a success in life. But this is a very, very something which has just settled down in our mind. If somebody is success, means he should be very rich, doing very well. You should be at the top of the world, commanding a big business, whatever it is. You start a business, earn huge profit, everybody will say he is a success. And the business runs into a loss, you are a failure. This is the definition of success and failure so far as our present society is concerned. But in the case of karma yoga, the inner purification takes place whether you earn profit through your business or you don't earn profit, or you make a loss. And therefore Krishna says, Yajna Shishta Shinah Santaha. Those people, those noble people who convert their life into worship and receive the consequence as Ishvara Prasada. Yajna Shishtam. Yagya Shishtam means Ishvara Prasada. Shishtam basically means remnants, what is remaining. Because, see, in our culture, if a human beings eat and leave something, in the plate, we are not supposed to eat that. It is considered impure because it has been contaminated by the saliva of someone else, which could be poisonous. In Tamil, it is called Echil. I don't know in what is it called in other languages, but I hope you get the idea. We don't eat that. In fact, when you adopt Sattvic way of life, you are not supposed to eat the food which you have left behind after eating it once. That is, even the shishta, that is what is remaining. So morning you have had food, then there is something left. That evening you should not have that food. That is considered to be a papa. And every day during Madhyanam, we pray, let that papam be, what is that, what I can call papam be done away with. There is so much in our culture, so many disciplines are said. These days, what is happening, because of the availability of the fridge, etc., people will cook for days and keep it in the fridge, and every day they will eat a little bit. According to Ayurveda, a food cooked, when we cook a food, after 4 hours of cooking, all its nutrients go away from the food. So what you are eating is just the physical food. There are no nutrients going into our body. And because of that, what happens? Over a period of time, when we do it over 30 years, 40 years, so many things take place in our body, so many diseases we develop, because it has not received the proper nutrients when they were to be given. Whereas all this, eating this, I would not call it stale, because it won't become stale if you keep it in the fridge. But it is stale in the sense that there are no nutrients in that food. And then we ask, why did I get this disease? Why did I get that disease? I never did this. I never did that. But you are not realizing what are all you are doing. You are taking it as, appropriate, and then you are continuing to do it. That is why Sattvic food is that which is eaten, consumed within 2-3 hours of its being cooked. It retains, the nutrients are retained in the food only for that much time. But suppose we offer something to the Lord or a Mahatma. After you offer the food, you take back the very same thing. It is not called contaminated. It is called yajna system or prasada. That's why the Naivedyam we offer to the Lord, and that Naivedyam, after offering to the Lord, we can consume that. Even though technically it is offered to someone else, and we should not consume the leftover portion. But it is considered as prasada, that we can consume. So he who takes all the karma phalams, the results of his karmas as yajna shishtam, all the karma phalams as prasada, and eats that, or let's say eating, of course, is in the food context, but anything that comes or enjoys or experiences that, what happens to him? Krishna says, Sarva kilbishaihi muchyante. He becomes free from all the papams. he becomes free from all the papams. And that's the beauty of our value system. There are, even if a Mahatma has touched something, we consider that as a very pious and a very important object for us to preserve, and then even do puja for that. Recently, I had been to a house of one distant relative, and that person happens to, I'm meeting him after a long time, and that person happens to be interested in Vedanta, and something, of course, is also listening to a lot of talks and things like that and all. While talking, he went inside and he brought out an old book in a very tattered condition, published by Chinmaya Mission. And he told me that despite the condition of the book, he has carefully preserved it for the last 50 years because it has the signature of Swami Chinmayanandaji. Let's see. The book becomes very valuable just because it has the signature of a Mahatma. And I'm sure that he values that book more than any other material possessions he has. Similarly, even a sweet prasada, like the Swami Paramathananda quotes this example quite often. Tirupati Venkatachalapati laddus. Even if we are diabetic patients with uncontrolled sugar, let us assume, when someone comes and gives the laddus as prasada from Tirupati, we will still consume a little, unmindful of the sugar content in it, because it is Lord's prasada, isn't it? Of course, just because it is Lord's prasada, we should not swallow the whole laddu. That will be very dangerous. You take a small portion. Prasada always should be taken a little bit only. In the name of prasada, you must not have dinner. So that act of consuming the laddu, it becomes a purifying act because it has been offered to the Lord first. It is yajna shishtam. So as I said, it is not just food. Food is only an example we are considering. Anything that we consume without prasada bhavana, it will attract papa. That's why, I remember, even at home, when we take some medicine, we will be told to remember the Lord and then consume the medicine as Ishvara Prasada. Because the curing properties of the medicine also come under the Ishvara's order only. Medicines are made from all these, what they call, keep on missing the word. From herbs and, all these.
Medicinal
They're
plant.
all containing medicinal properties. They are all what? It is order within the Ishvara's order. If I don't do that, if I don't understand this, and if I don't remember Lord, if I don't consume whatever I consume with the karma yoga attitude, or consume it as Ishvara Prasada, expressing my gratitude to the Lord, and Lord means here what? The cosmic order. If I do not do that, Krishna says, he uses a strong word, you are a papi. Therefore, a karma yogi is one who looks upon karma yoga as a worship of the Lord, and he takes all the consequences as yajna prasada. And to show the contrast, Krishna says, ye tu atma karanat pachanti. Literally, of course, this sentence means those who cook only for themselves. But we must understand the implication. The implication is that those who do all their karmas for their own benefit with the selfish motive and do not offer the actions to the Lord, and they do not look upon the results of their karmas as Ishvara Prasada, they papa hai, they are sinners. Now, this word papam, punyam and all we come across, right? The Puranic concept of papam, we all know it is something, it will lead to unpleasant experiences in life. Punyam will lead to pleasant experiences in this life or next life and all that. But we have to understand this word papam from a Vedantic point of view, Vedantic context. From a Vedantic context, what is the Vedanta's primary goal? Vedanta's primary goal is attaining knowledge, self-knowledge. So from a Vedantic point of view, any adharmic action or any action which will lead to papam, that is shown by obstruction caused to acquiring the self-knowledge. So according to Vedanta, anything that obstructs my spiritual pursuit is papam. The cause of that obstruction may be that I have got lot of riches, sense pleasures, and because of those sense pleasures, I am lost in worldly pursuits. I do not come to Vedanta. Then the scriptures point out that those very sense pleasures are papam. Even money is considered a papam. If I am going to be lost in money and I am not going to pursue spirituality, per se, world pursuits or money or wealth, they are not papam. But as even we are engaged in the worldly pursuits, if we ignore or neglect the fact that all that we have, all that we possess are given to us only because of Ishvara's grace, and when we do not recognize the role of Ishvara in our life, that is papam. On the other hand, even poverty is considered punyam. If poverty leads to self-inquiry, because one advantage of poverty is that the person is able to spend more time in spirituality. If he is able to do that, then poverty is a blessing. It is a punya. Therefore, from a Vedanta standpoint, we define punyam as whatever promotes spiritual growth, and we define papam as whatever obstructs spiritual goal. And this is called skilbisham in this sloka. Sarva kilbishai muchyate. All the papams go away for a noble person who lives a life of karma yoga. Now, what is the primary obstruction for spirituality? If we just a little bit go deeper to understand, we have talked about it in the very first chapter also, in the Gita first chapter, Arjuna's condition. According to the scriptures, the primary obstruction is moha or delusion, avivekaha. What is the kind of delusion that we are talking about? Seeing the external world as a cause of happiness or a cause of unhappiness, that is the delusion. Because according to Vedanta, the external world is neither a source of happiness nor a source of unhappiness. Because if you say the world is a source of happiness, then everyone who are living in the same world should be happy, isn't it? But then we see that when we are happy, there are many people who are suffering. So the external world or the objects in the external world or even the people in the external world, considering them as sources of happiness or unhappiness is the delusion, is the moha. For example, let us take, for example, music is a source of happiness for most people. But if the music is a source of happiness, then whatever music is played in the house, all family members should be happy. But that's not our experience. If it is a loud, thumping pop music, the teenager in the family will jump and dance and all and enjoy the music. But the very same music may be a source of headache, irritation, unhappiness for the parents, old parents, or old people in the house. On the contrary, when the old people play Carnatic music, these experiences are reversed. Now the question is the music the source of happiness or unhappiness? From this example, we know music per se cannot be a source of unhappiness or happiness or unhappiness. We can think of numerous other examples also. So extending this principle, Vedanta says that world is neither sukha hetuhu nor is the world dukkha hetuhu. As long as you are finding fault with the world and as long as you are trying to change the world to improve your happiness, you are in delusion. And further, even if you are going to make certain adjustments with the world and you suppose you succeed, but you are not going to be or never going to be permanently happy. Because if not this, something else or the other is going to affect you. Therefore, this wrong thinking that the world or objects or people and situations are the cause for happiness or unhappiness is called moha. And this delusion must go away. And I should understand that it is not the world that gives me joy or sorrow. It is my attitude towards the world which is responsible for my unhappiness or happiness or unhappiness. It is my response towards the world which determines my sorrow or happiness. And therefore, what is required is not a change in the world, but a change in my attitude, a change in my response. That I should first understand, realize. And any attitudinal change, any perspective change is brought about by knowledge alone. Because this itself is a knowledge. Once you gain this knowledge, that alone changes my attitude. Therefore, ultimately what I require is knowledge. So instead of finding fault with the world, once I turn my focus towards knowledge, then I have become a spiritual seeker. Therefore, whatever helps this misconception or delusion, which makes me go after the world and which makes me chase the world is called moha. In fact, Adi Shankara, he has written a monumental work called Bhagawad. I know most of you know it. And Bhagawad has got another name called Moha Mudgaraha. Mudgaraha means, what? A pestle. What they call in Tamil, it is called Valakkai. I don't know what is called in other languages. In which that it is used, it's a iron instrument which is used.
It is called pizzle. P-I-S-T-L-E. Pizzle.
Pestle.
Pistle.
Not pistle. Pestle, that's what I think the spelling. Pestle. Check
Yeah,
the
yeah.
pistle. So that is called, used to pound and grind, all masala and all that, olden times. So Moha Mudgara, this Bhajagovindam, if you go through it, if you understand what he is saying, the message that he is giving through Bhajagovindam, all these mohas will be ground. They will be destroyed, powdered. And he analyzes everything in Bhajagovindam. Whether money gives you happiness, he analyzes. Whether family members are giving happiness, he analyzes. यावत वित्तोपार्जन सकता है तावत निज परिवारो रखता है पश्चात जीवति जर्जर देहे वार्ताम कोपि न पृच्छति गेहे. One of the, just an example I'm giving you, it's a beautiful work. In fact, M.S. Subbulakshmi has has recorded, the whole Bhajagovindam as a song, rather. Very beautiful. Many houses, they play this in the morning. Vishnu, this, or the
Suprabhadam.
Suprabhadam, Bhajagovindam, all day, they play in the morning. Of course, only cultured people. Other people, they will first see their mobile phone, what is there, what messages have come. Anyhow, it doesn't matter. So here he says, all the family members are wonderful as long as a person is a productive member of the family. Yavat vitta uparjana sakta hai, as long as he is able to earn a lot of money. Right? Tavat Nija parivaro rakta hai. They will all, oh, he is such a great person, looks after the family and all, a lot of praise for him. Paschat jivati jarjara dehe. The moment he is retired, then the attitude changes. The earlier extra service is gone. Now he has to help himself. Vartam kopi na prijati gehe. No one at home cares to even have a word with him when his body totters due to old age. So what are you talking about? People are giving me happiness. People are the source of happiness. Shankaracharya asks. The very same people, today you consider their source of happiness, the very same people will become source of unhappiness for you. So is the happiness in the people or not? You now tell me. Relationships don't contain happiness. But it is our response to the situation that is thrown to us either by the situations or the people or how we respond. That is the cause for our happiness or unhappiness. As I said, it takes up everything. What is family? What is money? What is life? And he removes the delusion with regard to each thing. Because when we say moha, it is not moha with respect to only one thing. Every aspect of our life, if we analyze, we are completely deluded. And through Bhajagovindam, Shankaracharya removes the delusion with regard to each and everything. And here, this delusion will go away only by Karma Yoga. And therefore, Krishna says, Yajnashishta Shina Santaha. A Karma Yogi will get out of this delusion and will understand that what I require is knowledge and not changing the people around, not changing the world, not changing the circumstances. And on the other hand, Bunjate te tvagam papaha. Krishna criticizes those people who are not karma yogis, who do not contribute anything to the world, who are selfish people. He strongly criticizes them here. Ye atmakaranat pachanti, those people who cook for themselves. As I said, cooking here is only a what you can call a representative example. It represents all action. Cooking for myself, atmakaranat pachanti means I do not want to share anything with people. As we have seen, when discussing Panchamahayagya, we have seen Manushya Yajna, right? And I told that time, sharing, the food and Manushya Yajna, I even gave you the example, olden times people used to cook, then look for some guest, some atiti, feed him first, and then only they will consume the food. So Atiti Devo Bhava. So that is the food which is offered to the Atiti is considered as being offered to the Bhagavan. And every day when they do that, they eat their own food with Ishwar Prasada Bhavana. According to that's why, when that is not possible these days, at least you offer that a piece, little bit of that food to the birds and all that, If not Manushya Yajna, at least Bhuta Yajna you perform. Therefore, in our culture, we must never eat food without offering it first or without giving, without feeding at least one person or somebody, in the surroundings rather. But then people will say, these days it is not possible to feed a person every day, especially in metros and cities. Where will we go? Everybody is busy in the morning, 8 o'clock, they go off to the office, they cook the food, put it in a lunch box and take it. Where to go looking for somebody every day? And that's why Kanchi Paramacharya, he had long ago suggested a very beautiful system. But ultimately, when we are talking about Karma Yoga, everything, it is the bhavana which is very important. Panchamahayagya also the bhavana which is important, your attitude with which you perform that karma. So he had actually started a scheme of offering a handful of rice. It used to be called Pidi Arishit Tittam in Tamil. So many of you would have known it because you are all senior people. The scheme was that every day before you cook your food, take one handful, just one handful of rice and a little bit of other things, like dal and all that. You put it, keep it separately, put it in a separate container. Every day you put it. Then once in a month or once in 3 months, take that and go and offer it to some ashram or some place where they can cook that rice and dal, etc., and then feed people. Annadanam they can do. Just imagine if all people do that, how much rice and food items can be collected. The whole the entire people in the society who are not having access to food, regular food, can be fed with that. So there are ways and means, and it is the Mahatmas who show our way how we can do it. This is something every one of us can do. Every day morning before you cook, just a little bit rice, you keep it out. Take it in, because we are all rice eaters, so normally we will all cook rice. Little bit rice, you keep it aside. Even if you are cooking something else, rice will always be there. So first you keep that rice separately, just one handful of rice, and then whatever you cook and eat is fine, because you have already attitude is, first I must offer the food to somebody, then only I should consume. So that way you can escape from being categorized under Ye Atmakaranat Pachanti, those who cook and enjoy themselves. And what does their action amount to? Te agham bunjate. Krishna says, he uses a strong word. He says, such people are not eating food at all. They are eating only concentrated papam. Every morsel that they are eating is papam in different forms. Agham bunjate. They are all becoming papis. Which means they are getting more and more away from spiritual knowledge. A selfish person goes away from spiritual knowledge. A selfless person goes towards spiritual knowledge and grows in that. So that was what the fourth angle, or what was the third angle? Third angle, Krishna presented Karma Yoga as a purifier. Now in the next verse, Krishna describes how the cosmic wheel keeps on going because of karma alone or karma yoga alone. I will read the sloka. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyat anna sambhavah yajñat bhavati parjanyah yajña karma samudbhavah. 14th sloka. Anvaya annad bhutani bhavanti parjanyat anna sambhavah parjanyah yajñat bhavati yajña karma samudbhavah. Annat, from food, panchami vibhakti. Bhutani, living beings, bhavanti, they are born. Sorry. Parjanyat, from rain, anna sambhavaha, food is born. So from food, living beings are born. From rain, food is born. Yajñat, from yajña, parjanyaha bhavati, rain is born. And yajña here we should take the meaning as punya karma, dharmic karma. Karma samudbhavaha is born of noble actions. Punyam is born of noble actions. So living beings are born of food. Food is born of rain. Rain is born of yajna. And yajna is born of karma or action or karma yoga with a karma yoga attitude. So as I said, Krishna has dealt with the topic of karma yoga from three angles. The first was a agnya, a commandment, niyatam karma kuru, etc. He said. Then he talked about karma yoga as a yajna, yajnartam karma kuru. Then in the previous sloka, Krishna talked about karma yoga as a purifier, chitta shodakam, shodakam, pavanam, pavitram. All these are all paryaya vachi shabda, all synonyms. Now Krishna is presenting karma yoga from a fourth angle. See how versatile this karma yoga is. The more you analyze, the more beautiful is this concept of karma yoga. That's why, Krishna has actually dedicated an whole chapter to this karma yoga. And right in the beginning, he starts with karma yoga. Second chapter, as I told you, is a condensation of all the other chapters, right? Of all the entire Gita. Karma yoga chapter, this third chapter is the actual beginning of the Gita teaching. And Krishna feels is the most important thing any seeker has to start with. He should understand karma yoga in its length and breadth. And therefore, he presents this fourth angle in two slokas, this sloka and the next sloka. And here Krishna presents karma yoga as dharma. What is the meaning of the word dharma here? Dharanat dharma, that which maintains the harmony of the creation, that which sustains the entire creation. That is dharma. It's a way of life by which I maintain the harmony of the creation. We all know that we are not isolated entities in this creation, isn't it? We are very much a part of the cycle of creation. We are integral parts of this creation. Our life is interconnected with fellow human beings. Our life is interconnected with animals. Our life is interconnected with plants. Our life is interconnected with forests, with rivers, oceans, the entire environment. Our life is also interconnected with the seasons. That's why when seasons change, we get some problems, health problems. There's a direct connection. So we are not isolated entities in the creation. And as I had told you before also, all other living beings, other than human beings, are all programmed to live a life of harmony. Plants will not create environmental problem or disharmony or pollution. Animals will not create disharmony because they are all instinctively made to live a life of harmony. Unfortunately, it is the only human beings having been given the unique power called free will and also being given the buddhi shakti, and since his intelligence is very powerful, he can either destroy the whole creation or he can create a heaven out of this wonderful creation. If the earth can be destroyed, it will be only by the actions of the human beings. Therefore, whether one believes in God or not, one may not believe in moksha, one may not believe in punya papa, one may not follow karma yoga for the sake of purification. You need not follow karma yoga to worship God. Even if one is a non-believer, an atheist, he or she has to necessarily live a life of dharma for his or her own survival and sustenance, and also for the sustenance of the society, of the entire environment. Even though science understands and proves that the whole creation is interconnected, it is the very same set of people or scientists who tinker with the parts of this cycle, which is unfortunately leading to the destruction of this harmony. Cosmic harmony, it is disturbing. In fact, if you observe the nature, there are innumerable cycles that the Lord has created, but we seldom pay attention to that. For example, the Lord has created the oxygen cycle. Humans and animals need oxygen not only for their survival, but also for a healthy living. Isn't it? That's why in Corona and all that, they were monitoring the oxygen levels, because if the health deteriorates, the oxygen level goes down. So we require oxygen. Human beings and animals breathe in the oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. And as the population of human beings and animals increases, more and more oxygen is required, more and more oxygen gets consumed. And if there was no mechanism to maintain continuous supply of oxygen, there will come a stage when the air will be full of carbon dioxide and the balance between oxygen and carbon dioxide will be disturbed. What will happen? Humans and animals will perish. Therefore, in order to sustain life on earth, Bhagavan has made a wonderful arrangement. He created a complementary set of living beings in the form of plants and trees, which need carbon dioxide and they release oxygen. Thus, we have got a beautiful cycle of oxygen, a beautiful cycle of carbon dioxide. We have not produced this cycle. We find this cycle already existing. Only we have to preserve this cycle. And thus, every entity, every living entity in the universe is interconnected. More we will see in the next class. We'll continue. Okay. It's time now. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all
Okay.
very much. Hari Om.
Namaskaram.
Namaskaram and thank you so much, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Namaskaram, Guruji. Thank you, Guruji.
Namaskaram. Namaskaram. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Namaskaram.
Thank you, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Namaskaram. Thank you. Yeah, Hariji is back today in action. Yes, Hariji, you can start. Unmute.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. See, when we are talking about interconnected, and if we think even any morsel of rice that we eat, or the shirt, or the dress that we wear, thousands of millions of people have worked on it.
Yeah.
We as the individual can never live
Yeah.
on our own.
Yeah.
Because if I'm 100 grams of rice, so many people have worked on it. Not only people, even so many animals
Yeah.
have worked on it,
That's true.
so that we are able to survive.
Yeah, exactly.
But most unfortunately, we only think that I have got money, I pay my money and I get the thing from the shop.
We
So
don't
I'm
think.
a self-made.
There are people who think, but we don't think like that. Huh? We are all karma yoga people. Just
Yeah,
sorry.
sure.
Yeah.
No, but unfortunately, most
Many
no,
people
no,
think
most
like-
of the people they feel that they are self-made. No, the very
Yeah, yeah.
word self-made.
In fact,
This is
Puja Swamiji says, we actually don't make anything. Everything is given to us. Even somebody
Yeah,
says,
free.
I have actually, grown this crop. He has not grown the crop. That growing of the
Somebody-
crop is also because of so many other people's contribution, and most importantly, Ishwara's blessing. That crop.
nature.
Nobody can take credit for anything. Rather.
No,
Yeah,
in one rainy season, if it goes haywire,
exactly.
the whole crops is
True.
off.
That's true. So long as we come to that realization, then is where we will start paying attention to protect the environment. We have to live together harmoniously. That is when this knowledge is required.
Yeah.
So that is why, in this sloka, Krishna takes up this. It is a very cryptic sloka, but we can read so much into that sloka. So much is there. So that is what it is. Yeah, very true. Any other question or comment?
Yeah, I have one or two more
Yeah,
questions.
please.
The next question is, you were talking about the Upanayana Samskar. That we have to have the Upanayana Samskar before we can deeply enter into the dharmic.
Not dharmic, Vedic learning.
Vedic learning. Now, I have a doubt here. If you now take examples of Tukaram or Kabir Das and all. I was recently in that place where Tukaram was born and then he grew. We could see that he and associated people were really haunted and harassed by the so-called Brahmins who were living in that. even the Abhang which he had written, all those, the entire Abhang paper, it was thrown into the river. So how do we say, I am not challenging your statement, but I would like to understand it more in depth. How do you say that the Upanayanam, when you are talking, it is meant only for people who are born in a Brahmin family?
No.
If you mean Upanayanam means the sacred thread that we are wearing.
Upanayanam, according to Vedas, those who are born in Brahmin families, those who are born in Kshatriya, and those who are in Vaishya families, all these three families have to undergo the Upanayanam ceremony. They have to learn the Vedas. That is the Vedic ordainment. Unfortunately, over a period of time, all others have let no. Even today, also amongst the Vaishyas and Kshatriya, there are people who go through this Upanayanam ceremony. It is not that completely given up by Kshatriyas and Vaishyas.
Okay.
Okay. And who are the Shudras? Shudra is not some particular class of people. Those who do not go through this Upanayanam ceremony, they are classified as Shudra. That means those who are not refined through this purificatory process, they are called Shudras, and they cannot participate in any of the Vedic rituals, etc. But they can assist these three category of people in conducting the rituals. So Shudras does not mean somebody lowly or anything, except because they have not gone through the... See, a boy born in a Brahmin family, if he has not undergone this purificatory karma Upanayanam, he is a Shudra only. That's why, we have to be very careful in understanding. All our mind is all okay. If a person born in Brahmin family is a Brahmin. Krishna, we will see in Gita itself, later on he says, he doesn't talk about Jati Brahmana. There are three classifications. One is Karma Brahmana, one is Guna Brahmana, another is Jati Brahmana. When Krishna talks about classification, Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasha, he says. He doesn't say Guna Karma Evam Jati Vibhagasha. So we must never ever take that because a person is born to a Brahmin parent, he is a Brahmin. That is the most wrongful. That's again another delusion, another moha, wrong understanding. So that is why for learning Vedas, Vishwamitra was not a Brahmin, he was a Kshatriya.
Yeah.
We got examples. Janaka was a Kshatriya, he was not a Brahmin. So there are so many examples we will find that it is not necessarily that all those people who learn Vedas, all those people who have not gone through this, what I'm saying. People who have not gone through the Upanayanam ceremony, they are classified as Shudras. So, whether Tukaram's, people who troubled Tukaram and all, well, ultimately what we have to understand is, I've said this earlier also, the dharma content in our life is reducing, more and more and more, right? So even when people who have learned the Vedas, because of their greed, because of their giving importance or focus on materialistic prosperity, they can also do adharmic karmas. And that's what we see around it. So, when we say samskara, it is not merely the act of doing that Upanayanam. It should be done with understanding. It should be done that samskara means samyak kriyate. It refines, it actually what we can say, improves the life of a person. So these are all things which we have to understand. So far as the Vedic learning is concerned, whether you learn it properly or you don't learn it properly, your eligibility to learn Vedas, you get only through the purification process, which is called Upanayana Samskar. That's what you have to understand the limited way for the purposes of this sloka.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other question?
Another comment. See, I still remember my mother every day when she cooks and all, and that part of it, the dal and rice and all. One is that she used to keep it for the crow. Unless the crow it takes, then the children won't get food. Also, she does that as every day. She will keep that as a nivedyam. A little bit of rice and a bit of.
Many families do that rather. Even today, they have seen many families, they will cook the rice, go and offer it to the Lord, and then only they will eat.
Then only.
When I have seen families who in the morning, first thing they will actually boil the milk, right?
Yeah.
For coffee and all. So that milk itself, they will first offer it to the Lord, and then they will prepare coffee. So that culture is there. It's not that totally gone, but many people don't do such things. What to do? Anyhow. Yes, Anjali ji, thank you, Aryu.
Yeah, Namaste Guruji.
Namaste.
I don't have a question. I have just some few comments. While talking about this Upanayana, I just recalled there is one social worker, one lady called Bharati Thakur, and she's formed a big ashrama on the banks of Narmada, river Narmada, subsequent to her parikrama, Narmada parikrama. So there are hundreds of street children she is looking after, and she has performed Upanayana to all those children, and started teaching them scriptures, and they are all learning. Then after that, they are learning scriptures and shastras.
Okay.
This is just I recall. Then second thing is the chain which you were talking. The Krishna was talking about in the previous shloka. Is food, rain, and yajna. So there is one group in Maharashtra, and one Mr. Gayakwad is heading that group, and they are all bringing awareness to this rains because due to yajna. They are performing yajnas. They are going to Karnataka, Kerala also, and they are doing experiments and bringing rains. They are all proving that. So that activity is going on.
Good.
Yeah. The third one,
Kerala also some time back they did and all that and all that. No? So many yajnas are there for different purposes. They will do yajna. Even when Corona came, people performed yajna to for people to be saved from this Corona.
Then the fourth chain to this after rains, yajna is righteous action, dharma, dharma karma, dharmic karma.
Yeah.
So that is the starting. If we take that as the starting point, dharmic karma, then that is also nowadays that is the disturbing factor. Shall we say that? That is the main disturbing factor. Dharmic actions. We are not performing dharmic actions, so all this environmental is getting disturbed.
Yeah, that's why the whole thing is getting out of harmony. Balance is lost and all that because of more and more adharma.
Yeah. So we have to. That also awareness has to be. Of course, you are bringing the same thing. You are doing the same thing. Bringing awareness too. Yeah.
If everybody does a little bit, no.
Yeah.
But drop by drop,
that should contribute to the change.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, Vijay.
Guruji, this regarding the yajna, in most of the cases, we see that after the yajna, there will be at least some few drops of rain.
Yeah.
99%, whether it is Ganapathy Homam or whatever yajna we do, immediately there will be some shower.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yes.
I just wanted to make a couple of comments. It was wonderful that you talked about interconnectedness of everything. Actually, when we start sitting down and analyzing every small thing that's happening around with us, and how many people have touched, let's say, a morsel of food that we have, then the only reaction or only emotion that we have is one of gratitude and understanding that there is only Paramatma everywhere.
Yeah.
That is one comment I wanted to make. And the other comment on yajna, there are some agricultural yajna that's happening. There are people who are doing yajna using the bhasma to cleanse and purify and fertilize and using it as pesticide as well. There are people who do some small yajnas, maybe just small yajna they do every day at specific times. But bhasma is used to there's a lot of research and lot of
Okay.
it can be looked into it. Just wanted to share this.
Yeah, a lot of people are doing. I mean, that's why I said, we see that it is not a very, while on the one hand, there are adharmam is increasing. On the other hand, there are a lot of people also engaged in doing a little bit of whatever they can do in order to protect the dharma, protect the environment and all that. And now at the global level itself, that awareness is coming, protection of environment and all. Even though one may question the modus operandi of theirs, what is the mode? As somebody said, they will say that all this, using of air conditions and all is causing global warming, and they will hold a big conference in a big air-conditioned hall. So, so that is, what is the way they are trying to do that, and then everybody is fighting. In fact, unfortunately, in today, every genuine issue is politicized. So people try to even look for some benefit for themselves out of all these issues, which is beyond everything rather. But then it is the unfortunate times we are living in. But everybody I know, to the best of their understanding, to the best of their shraddha, they are doing little bit, and whatever they can do, they are doing. Many people I know them, they are doing it. And that is what sustains this entire dharma right now. As this number of people go on decreasing, then the problems will keep on increasing also. Rather. That we will have to see only in future what happens. Yeah. Anyhow, good. Any other question, comment? If not, I can close the session.
Guruji, this is Vishal Satya here. I just have a question, Guruji.
Yeah.
So, involuntarily, voluntarily we could be doing so many papa, but involuntarily also we might be contributing to. Not significantly contributing, but minorly at least contributing to so many things as a group. Like as you said, Guruji, so we could be using AC, or we could be using a vehicle which actually contributes to global warming, which could affect some animal in some part of the earth. And similarly, some climatic change which could affect the Amazon rainforest or any of these, Guruji. So on the whole, when we're actually trying to do those things, how can we, while we're actually trying to do our karma yoga, while we're trying to actually, even if we get good things in our life, we are trying to say that it's Bhagavan's, the gift. How do we take up such activities where these things are actually out of our control? We just follow the system, how it is going, and how do we, how do we recognize that these are, as a human race, we're doing it as a fault and not as individually we're doing, and we cannot escape this?
Yeah, it's a very good question. There cannot be any straightforward answer, because if I give you any straightforward answer, it will be like evading the question itself. The fact of the matter is that we have to bring in a balance about what we do consciously. Consciously, we must not contribute to anything that disturbs the environment. That is number one, right? Secondly, consciously, we must do something in order to promote the harmony between the harmony which is there in the cosmos rather. And the Panchamaha Yagyas, which I talked about, are one of the means of doing it rather. For example, suppose, there are, you see plants and all that which are not, there is no rain, right? You have water, few plants, you can water them and, help them to remain alive rather. Otherwise, in the heat sun, when there are no rains, they can perish out. So consciously we can do small, little things there. But we must not at the same time forget that we are part of a bigger scheme of things. We are part of a bigger society where there are a lot of things going on, and we cannot escape the collateral damage, even though we may not be contributing, but we are participating willy-nilly in all those things that are being done. So to that extent, the papas will come to us also. We can't escape. We can't say, no, I didn't do it.
Right, Guruji. Yeah.
So that way, it is not that you can do only dharma karyam and get lot of punyas. It is not possible in Kali Yuga. Probably in Satyuga it was possible. It was less possible in Treta Yuga. Still less possible in Dwapara Yuga. In Kali Yuga, it's very, very difficult to do that. But to the best extent possible, we should do it. That is why, later on, when we shift over to karma, from karma yoga to jnana yoga, we don't even worry about this papa, punya and all that.
Okay.
Because if you understand the reality, what is my reality? That I am not this body, mind, sense complex.
Right, Guruji.
All that we are talking, you will find later on, it is like, adding x and solving the equation and removing the x. I'll tell about this all later. I don't want to give you the entire Vedanta.
Right.
That's all it is. We have to understand slowly that, gradually that knowledge will keep growing. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Guruji.
Okay. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Okay, Hari Om. We'll meet next Saturday. No?
Thank you, Guruji.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Hari Om Guruji, Pranam.
Pranam. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Guruji. Pranam, Guruji.